Hello everyone, my name is Faith, but you may call me Unmei. So if you've been watching this channel long enough, you'll probably know that I have a weird obsession with fangs. But here's something else that you may not know about me. I am a sugar addict. I eat way too much candy and I try so hard to stop, but it's just so dang good. So today I'm going to combine two of my favorite things, candy and vampires. So without further yapping, let's get right into it. I decided I'm going to base these characters off of my two favorite candy brands, Peeps and Reese's. First, we're going to start off with Peeps. These little magical marshmallows are ones you would typically have on Easter Day. They come in a variety of colors and are usually depicted as chicks or bunnies. So I decided to base this character off of the pink chicks specifically. And the reason for this is because I like the chicks better than the bunnies, and my favorite color is pink. I mean, who would have guessed that was my favorite color, right? Okay, so we're just working on the sketch right now, and you may have noticed up at the top left that I have a character design sheet. This is essentially just a rough layout of how I wanted the costume and character to look. For this more finished piece, I wanted them to be looking at their little Peep familiar sitting on their hand. I also played around with the idea of giving them a bunny staff to symbolize the bunny version of Peeps. But then I thought about it more and I was like, nah, I'll just stick to the chicks. I feel like adding a bunny in there would just clash with the theme too much. So as for what I did go with in this design, I decided to give this character a lot of puffy elements to symbolize the marshmallow aspect of it all. So for example, the big poofy cape that you can't miss, and the poofy elements on the sleeves and the coattail shape. I wanted this character to appear very elegant and friendly, because they have to charm people in order to get to their blood source. Alright, so as you can see, we're moving on to the line art portion of the drawing, which is one of the most time-consuming parts of the process, but also the most rewarding in my eyes. Every time I do line art now, I always use the syrup pen in Procreate, because that way I can get a nice thick to thin ratio of the lines, and I also can just set the line art layer to reference, and underneath it, make a layer for the colors and just drop it right in there. So simple, so easy, I frickin' love it. Alright, now let's start lining that iconic poofy cape. And of course add some ruffled trim to the shawl that I gave them. And let's struggle drawing this hand. Now we're gonna start lining the hair, which is always one of my favorite parts. And keeping with that poofy marshmallow theme, we're going to make the hair nice and fluffy looking. If you couldn't tell already, I really wanted this character to have an androgynous kind of vibe. So getting more into the lore of this vampire, let's go back to earlier when I said they need to charm their way into getting their blood source. Essentially how they would accomplish this is through the power of Riz. And ancient vampiric power, of course. And I thought maybe their staff would have a hand in it. Not only would it persuade people to be a little more generous with their blood, I thought it would be fun if it could somehow magically alter the flavor of said blood, making it sweeter to the taste. Because if you have ever had Peeps before, they are nothing but pure sugar. About 80% to be exact. So yeah, this vampire is basically just walking diabetes. Okay, let's start coloring. Let's give them a nice bubblegum pink color for the hair, and a hot pink for the main coat thingy-malingy, and utilize some nice pink cream colors. I added some purple on there as well for some more contrast, as well as just a hint of yellow. We're also going to put a nice lining on the inside of that cape, which is going to have a peep pattern on the inside that I'm taking from Google and copying and pasting in there because I'm not working that hard. And then we're finally going to start shading, of which mostly I use the lasso tool and the airbrush tool combined together. So now we're just going to shade in the hair using that method, and I'll add some shinies as well. So we're pretty much over halfway done with the drawing. We're almost there, but we gotta add a couple more details, mainly to the shoes because I forgot to put the laces on there. Whoopsie doopsies! And with all that done, we can finally start adding in a fun little background. And let me tell you, it's a good time just mix and matching these colors together without much thought put into it. Let's add a little drop shadow to the picture to really make them stand out. And with these final few touches, our Vampeep is going to be done. Vampeep, vampire, Vampeep buyer, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. What do you guys think? Be sure to leave your thoughts and feelings down in the comment section. Alright, now it's time for Candy Vampire number 2. So this character is going to be based off of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. And I really wanted the pose for this one to be super dynamic. So I tried to include a little foreshortening with the foot and the leg there. And as I had used previously for the other drawing, I also did a design sheet for this character as well. Please excuse how derpy he looks in it though. Okay, so basically my design for this character was that he is a very ravenous vampire. I like to think that his claws can somehow turn the victim's blood into chocolate and then he devours it. So maybe he'll slash the victim's throat first and then he'll begin drinking the chocolatey, peanut buttery goodness within. I sound like such a psycho recording this. Alright, so back to the design. So since he's based off of Reese's cups, I wanted his collar and shoulder flares to resemble the iconic look of a ridged Reese's cup. And because he's a ravenous monster, probably living off the streets, I decided to make his clothes nice and raggedy looking, combining the rips and tears with something that looks kind of like dripping chocolate. And I gave him a belt with a ridged crest in the middle, resembling a Reese's cup. I followed the same tear/dripping theme for his pants as well. I mean, who wouldn't want drippy pants, am I right? Maybe it's just another version of calico cut pants.
Those pants come like that, with those two little dots. They're really in style right now.
Okay, so moving on from drippy pants, we're gonna move on to the shoes. I wanted to give them sharp little teeth that kind of resemble a vampire, with a center of ooey gooey peanut butter in the middle that it's chomping down on, and oozing out onto the floor to really sell the illusion. Yes, I know this character's outfit is highly impractical for everyday use, but I don't really care, I think it looks cool. And as we know, aesthetic is more important than functionality. Alright, let's start lining this torn up cape, and give him unnecessary arm belts for no reason other than aesthetic. I'm such a good character designer. Alright, let's start lining his hair now. We're giving him nice straggly waves so it looks like he's been raised by wolves, when in actuality he's probably raised by bats. And I'm going to give him long strands of hair flowing out in the front of him wildly. I think it's about time we start coloring. And the best part about this is I can just color pick straight from the design sheet that I created earlier. So I was able to skip a really annoying part of the process, which is figuring out colors mid-drawing. So I highly recommend doing a messy first draft. I'm going to give him some nice pops of orange in the design, mainly on the pants and the cape. I made the inner part of the collar a nice pop of yellow, that way it can contrast well with the dark hair. I also decided to put a little brown on the ends of the cape just to make everything tie together in a nice little bow. And now with all of the base colors done, we can finally start shading. Sometimes instead of the airbrush, I like to use a textured brush that I found for free online, of course, to give a little bit of intrigue to the shading. Because we don't want everything to look shiny and smooth and perfect because that would look weird. Let's start using the lasso tool for a little bit of shading on the coat now. And I'm going to make a layer above everything to add a little bit of gold jewelry. It's not going to be at all detailed, it's just going to be for a little bit of flair. Now we're going to add some chocolate blood to his face, because he is a hungry boy. Now we're getting into more of the small details, and we're going to start thinking about adding a background, which I will switch over to the time-lapse to do because I did not record it. So let's start working on this background. And I do apologize for the rapidly flashing colors. I was just trying out a lot of different stuff, like adding an outline, adding a backlighting, and I do end up going with the backlighting because I felt it looked the best. As for the actual background, I did want it to resemble Reese's because this is a Reese's vampire after all. So I played around with a shadow, different types of drips of chocolate, even a floating Reese's in the background, until I settled on that classic bright yellow color that Reese's is known for. And with all of that done, our Reese's vampire is complete. So what are your guys' thoughts and feelings about it? Please leave a comment and let me know. Alright, that's all I have for you guys today. Please be sure to subscribble-dibble to my YouTube Jibble if you like what I make. Also turn on the notification bell if you always want to be notified when I drop a new video. Thanks for watching, bye bye!